I was working for a company, and it was one of those fun days where you rocked up to work on a Monday and there were chains on the front gates and a big liquidation notice.
Oh, yeah, we love to see that.
What is up, you absolute weapons? Welcome to the next episode. My name is Calvin Branson, and I'll be sitting down with entrepreneurs from all walks of life to talk about their successes, failures, and how to make an impact. This is none of your business.
So firstly, thank you so much for joining us on the podcast today. Appreciate your time. So obviously for the listeners who don't know you, just give us a bit of a background and tell us who you are.
Cool. Joel van der Skeef, currently CEO of an agri-tech startup called AgriLogic. We like to say we connect growers to their greenhouses, but really at the core, it's an IoT automation company for undercover farming, anything from shade net polytunnels to full warehouse farming. That's my day job. Secondly, I've got an investment in a company called TS Tech, which is an IT company that does IT needs, so basic printers, networks, Microsoft licenses, all your IT needs from an infrastructure perspective. And then lastly, I've got a small consulting company, which I call the Van Group after Van der Skeef, where I do a little bit of valuation consulting, marketing consulting, in general consulting to small businesses, mid-sized businesses, mostly around production on the mid-sized level. Let's stop there, unless you want me to climb down into the background.
No, that's fine. So
yeah,
just to summarize, so it's agri-tech, TST?
So
AgriLogic, sorry.
TS Tech, and the Van Group.
And the Van Group. Wow, that's quite a lot that you have going on. So what did you have to study, or how did you get into all of those three different fields? You must have quite an interesting story leading up to how you got into those.
Cool. Let me try and give you the mid-size story. Not too long, not too short. But essentially, I grew up in a very blue-collar family. My mom's only got us down 7. My dad went to the Navy. So no university degrees in any direct family, uncles, aunts, no clue what a university actually meant and what it meant in this world to have a degree. So really it was like they got me to matric and was like, we've done our job and off you go. Go out and figure shit out for yourself, right? At the same time, they both had small businesses. My mom had a cleaning service. In high school, like completely embarrassing. She actually cleaned the school in exchange for our school fees.
Oh, wow. That could be quite a lot when you're actually a student at that school.
When you're a student at that school, it's tormenting. But, it also teaches you what hard work is and that you can achieve anything that you put your mind to, right? Same time, I always tell people that I learned how not to run a business from my parents. My dad felt that he could be the secretary, the bookkeeper, the product owner, the technical manual writer, the instructor, the CEO all at once. And if you want to grow a business, you just can't do that, right? Yeah. Similar to my mom couldn't trust people to do the work. She always had to do it herself. So my dad had a small commercial diving school. I ended up after school completely lost, couldn't afford varsity, didn't know what it meant, didn't know how important it actually is in life, didn't know what a student loan was, no real guidance around it, no network guidance around it, and ended up just doing a commercial diving course with my dad. Became a diamond miner on the west coast of South Africa for a year.
Wow.
Very interesting, lots of bar stories, but we'll leave those.
We can maybe circle back in a bit.
Yeah, pond got too small, needed to spread the wings, took the first job overseas that I didn't know where it was, landed up in the Caribbean in a small island called...
So you took the job and not knowing
where it was. Purposefully for that, just to go figure out.
Oh, epic.
Right.
So take some balls.
Yeah. I guess it's a reflection of who I am today, right? I enjoy the unknown and the challenges that come with it. A curse and a gift. But I landed on Tortola in the British Virgin Islands as a commercial diver, maintaining yachts underwater, building moorings. As I was telling you earlier, we claim to fame is building the beach for Richard Branson where we actually dredged the sand out the sea onto his island, built an artificial reef to maintain it there.
Epic.
And I think they have to kind of sort of patch it up every 5 years to keep it in.
Oh, nice. I know this has nothing to do with anything, but did you ever get the chance to meet him?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, we had a few dinners with him. My opinion is, it's opinion always, but like the times we did see him, complete entrepreneur, top end, bottom end. So one day is your best mate, the next day is like shouting at you.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. But genuine heart, genuinely nice guy.
Yeah.
Media overplays it a bit, but very smart, very nice.
Standard though.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
always the case, right?
Yeah. It was always fun at like 7 a.m. when you were hungover on the barge and he was shouting at you that the sand wasn't white enough. But
At
yeah,
least it's by Richard Branson and not some other guy,
Yeah.
It makes it a little bit sweeter.
yeah.
Just a little bit.
But yeah, so like, stayed for the girl, was supposed to be a gap year, figuring things out kind of like, and as we always do. And then within like 2 years, I was running the commercial dye facility, like peak of career at 21. And I was like, this can't be life.
Sure.
Packed it all up, came home, started studying engineering part-time, working as apprentice full-time. So I was doing a learnership for what's called a millwright. Most people not familiar with that trade, but it's sort of a combination of a tool maker and electrician. Very much kind of an automation these days, but it stems from back in the day, you would go and erect a mill for the wheat and the grain to make flour. And it could be a windmill, it could be a water wheel, it could be something else. So you had to be multi-skilled and multidisciplinary to be able to do that.
Sure.
In the evenings, I was doing my N levels. So it's working towards a diploma in engineering. I also kind of figured out that like maths and science was a shared subject between mechanical and electrical engineering. So I just did both.
Cool.
So I ended up with an N6 in mechanical and electrical engineering. Never quite finished the trade test, but was working up the ranks, moved from doing the actual physical work into machine design, into production machine design for bottling lines like Unilever, tomato sauce, those things. Like everyone knows there's 36 tomatoes in a bottle of All-Gold, but no one knows how they got there, right?
Yeah.
The guys that built the machines that got there.
That got in there.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I was working for a company, and it was one of those fun days where you rocked up to work on a Monday and there were chains on the front gates and a big liquidation notice.
Oh, yeah, we love to see that.
It's always entertaining.
Yeah, always a good time.
Yeah, and I was 26, and we were like, well, there's an opportunity here, right? Every crisis is opportunity. And so myself and a friend working there, that's when we started our first business. I lie, that wasn't my first business. My first business was straight out of high school. Convinced my parents to get me on a cell phone repair course. And I started a cell phone repair shop for 3 months, which failed dismally. And that's when I ended up on the commercial dive course with my dad.
Aha. How old were you when you started this?
17.
Okay, wow. So entrepreneur from a young age then. Like that spirit was there, I guess.
Yeah. So the hunger was there, and also not knowing the traditional paths, I guess, being naive, that's the path you knew, right? So like there was never a limitation set. It was always like you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
It's up to you to figure it out what you want. And like 17-year-old, who knows what they want? Like I'm 38 now and I don't know. Not sure if I know what I want.
Yeah.
I've got a half an idea, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, so first business started then, really like properly wet behind the ears, good engineering skills. I spent a lot of time doing quote mandates, factory layouts, that type of thing. So it was a good space to be able to consult into the industry. We knew what was missing. We knew what the gap was, and we managed to start a small business just out of servicing. That business grew success to success. We started November 2011. I sold my shares 50% in November 2017 for 2 million rand. The business was worth 4.
Nice.
Started with 40,000 rand. We were doing about 20 million rand turnover.
Crazy.
What
was that company
The company is called MacMan, short for machine maintenance, machine manufacture. was available. The domain was available. It was what we could think of at the time. We made the logo yellow because we heard that it attracts the eye the most, and that was it. We were off, right? Like,
Kept to the basics.
yeah, half a website. We phoned up all the customers that were customers of the company that liquidated. Every single one swore at us because of what they lost in the process of that liquidation. Within 6 weeks, we realized we had to start fresh. Started
Crazy.
fresh. Yeah, it was good lessons, good learning.
Why
Very
did you sell?
interesting. Partnership. So I was like, if anyone asked me what I'm doing today, I'm like, my life motto is go big or go bigger.
I like that. Go big or go bigger.
I'm hungry. I want to grow something big. And yeah, it just got to the point where the partnership was failing, right? I wanted to keep going. My partner was happy to sit back and relax. And we just couldn't have that adult conversation around where to next, right? You know, it became challenging. I wanted it, so it runs its course, and that's okay, right?
Sure.
Like the three things you know in life are death, taxes, and change. And it was just change.
Yeah, it's natural. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah. So we still mates. Nothing wrong. We're definitely struggling at the time, right? Like it wasn't easy to go through it, and was a process. But in the end, it's run its course. They've recently sold the business last year to a corporate. Yeah. So first business then sold September. Managed to get a deal over the line. 20, and I won't forget it because it was 22nd of September. 2017.
Yeah.
And there was always sort of an option in the background to go back to varsity and do something. And one of the things I knew I could do was an MBA on what's called recognition of prior learning, so an RPL application. And it was a 1 year and done and get a degree kind of thing.
Yeah.
So also it was like 1, 2, skip a few and get a master's.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, yeah, the minute the deal was signed, I put in my application, and I had 4 weeks to get my GMAT, to start studying, write the test, and get my score in to be accepted
Sure.
to the MBA the following year. But yeah, head down, got
And
that
you made
done.
it happen.
Yeah, so I basically took 1 day a week plus the weekends to study, because I still had to hand the company over to the new owners.
For sure.
And
Yeah, for sure.
so that was taking majority of the time, right? And yeah, I got my 550, and I was like, that's it, I'm done. I booked 2 days, like I booked the 30th of October and the 31st, just in case I stuffed up the 30th, that I could rewrite 31st.
Yeah.
And got through on the 30th, and I was like, sweet, sorted. And yeah, 2018 MBA. Lots of interesting stories there. I think the best part, or my most favorite part, is I was selected to compete in the world's largest business case competition. 36 schools around the world compete in Montreal. It's called the John Molson Business Case Competition. You're a team of 4, but you only get 2 laptops in 3 hours. You've got to assess and create. So you got to assess the business and create a solution of 40 slides and a 25-minute presentation in 3 hours, and you have no access to internet.
Whoa,
Yeah,
that is
so
crazy.
It's good fun. A lot of fun, a lot of interesting business people. Like, yeah, you really get to know yourself. So we spent a lot of time practicing and went to Montreal. And then one of the lecturers had a factory, and he was kind of like, well, what you doing next year? And I was like, oh, I don't know. And he was like, cool, you're starting as head of operations 1st of Feb. Is that good? Yeah, 1st of Feb.
Yeah.
So ended up running his factory, and we knew
So
each other.
that was a professor, you said, through the university. Oh, crazy.
And so he's got a confectionery factory day, and then sort of teaches at night kind of thing. And 150 staff, about a 80 million rand turnover. So medium-sized business, but that was kind of everyone that I consulted to with my previous business. So I knew the systems well. And yeah, it was actually a big turnaround. He I walked into quite a hectic situation. They ran a massive loss, and we turned the business around in that year.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah, and towards the end of it, wanted to get back to my own thing. I actually did my thesis in supply chain route to market for FMCG products in South Africa. So I'm quite passionate about supply chain and FMCG.
Yeah.
It's one of my loves. Not my first love. But so I put an offer in to purchase a quarter of a food distribution company, which invested in production companies and became the distribution leg. So they had owned a couple of production companies, and then I had a few deals lined up for them. And 3 out of 4 directors had signed in December. So I put in my notice in December 2019, right, just before COVID.
Yeah.
Put in my notice, had a 4-month workout period. And of course, March 2020, COVID, and it just all went. And that last signature was missing, and the deal fell apart. So it's pretty crazy. Found myself end of May, early June, no job, no business, pregnant wife.
Ooh.
2020. So that was my COVID.
That's
Lots
a
of
tough
fun.
situation.
Yeah. Anyway, and then since the MBA, I've always try to give back. I had a lot of mentors going through my first business, and I wouldn't be where I am without them. So I've tried to give that back at part of the process. Same reason I'm here, right? I'm
Sure,
always
I was
happy.
going to say, because I also know, obviously, the guy who introduced us, I know that you've been mentoring him quite a lot as well. So I was going to ask off camera, but may as well ask on camera, why such a strong spirit of, willing to give back? But you just explained it. So that's cool.
It, right?
Yeah.
So I've scaled back a little bit on it at the moment just because of priorities, but
Sure.
this Saturday, actually, I'll be teaching at Alan Gray Orbis Foundation. I do that every year. I take on a mentee plus do some of the entrepreneurial classes with them, master classes where I can. I've got a friend who runs UCT Shark Tank, so I try and help them out every year.
Yeah.
And just in general, if there's a business in need, I'm a mentor on the Savant accelerator program as well this year.
Nice.
So very much mentorship, not coaching. Call me when you need me. I'm not going to run after you.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah,
It's better that way.
and then so I found myself just doing a bit of teaching June, July, and I needed to give a class at Alan Gray for raising capital. And so I got hold of a few of the investors I knew. And one of the guys said to me, because I was exploring, I was big as an entrepreneur, right?
Mind all over the place.
Yeah. So I was exploring an idea where I'd written a sort of a route to market app that helped you manage your stock for factories. And I was exploring launching that. And I think we'll still launch it one day. Everyone does it for the retailer and forgets about the manufacturer, but actually without the manufacturers, you don't have the retailer, right? So there's a disconnect between, and there's a lot of losses for manufacturing companies if they don't monitor it. And anyway, between that, I was talking to some tech guys and some investors, and I thought while I was doing it, let me also just say, hey, what's the landscape like now in COVID? Do you actually know what's going on? Is things carrying on as normal, or should I just tell the students to wait a year before they do anything, right?
Yeah.
And in closing with the one guy, he said to me, what's happening? If you know of any agri-tech or talk to any agri-tech companies, please just send them my way. And a mate of mine had been working on AgriLogic for a couple of years, and I'd been consulting him here and there on them. And I gave him a ring and said, hey, there's this guy looking to invest. What's happening with your project? Have you got it off the ground yet? And he turned around and said, well, I got 2 orders and I have no idea what's going on with the tech. And I was like, cool, let's lunch on Monday.
Yeah.
Made a deal to buy half the company and slowly take over the rest as we grow it.
Cool.
And that's, where AgriLogic.
How you got into that. Which one would you say is do they all take an equal amount of your attention, or would you say there's one that's dominant of the 3?
Yeah, no, AgriLogic's 90%,
Okay.
right? 95%. It's my day to day. It's where I earn my living. It's what I'm growing. It's everything. Yeah. TSTech's an investment, so I'm a shareholder, nothing more, nothing less. I'm a hands-on shareholder though, right? Like I don't, I chat to the team every day. I'm in and out every other, they see me, I help them with big sales calls, whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's a COVID purchase, so I got a good deal.
Nice.
Yeah,
So one good thing that came out of it, I guess, by the sounds of things.
There's always good things in crises.
Yeah.
There's always opportunity.
I mean, you had two that you told me about already, the liquidation of that company early on. And from that, you started your own thing. And now this COVID, and here you are.
Opportunities are everywhere, hey? It's execution. I mean, in just an agri logic, we're coming up to 3 years, right? But the amount of opportunity that's there that could have pulled my focus from what we're doing to what we are doing, it's endless. I had, I think 2 months ago, I got offered to take over the entire sub-Saharan division of a company, which is related to us, but would pull our focus away from our mission, or my focus. So it's, you got to be careful about what you do, but there's endless opportunity. It's execution that makes it. I mean, the idea is 1%, right? 99% is execution.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and then the Van Group really is just the odd consulting thing here and there.
Yeah.
I've got a handful of customers that I work for on a very niche basis. And I just use that as the vehicle. It's not an active company. I'm very good at supply chain, very good at import export. So I'll hop, a few deals across the line here and there. And as I said, production consulting and a little bit of financial valuation.
Yeah. Okay.
Space. Yeah.
And so when I think of entrepreneurs, there's always like a strong motivator for why they do what they do. And sometimes it's often the same thing, money or passion or whatever the case is. But what would you say motivates you to keep going and keep pushing as an entrepreneur?
So I'll answer you this way. For the one is, if they don't say money, they're lying.
Yeah.
Right. Like everyone gets into business because they got to earn the money, and like the risk and the sacrifice that you do has to be worth something. Otherwise you get a day job. Right. And I think it's a question every entrepreneur asks himself every other day. Like, should I just be doing a day job? Much easier and less risk. Mm-hmm. But money can't be a sole motivator, because it will crash, right?
Yeah.
You can hear from multiple businesses that money is a big motivator, and you got to carefully understand each business, whether it's going to be a cash cow or an asset that you're growing, and what you do with it and how you grow it. It all depends on those two aspects, right? But what I really love is understanding a customer and delivering good product. At the end of the day, is there's nothing that drives me mad more than poor products and poor service. And if I can fix one small little bit of it, it makes me happy, right? I guess that's what it is. In the end of the day, is just making sure that you can keeping the world turning, right? Just doing good.
Yeah. Okay. Now that makes sense. It's like a bigger sense of purpose and knowing that you're providing more than just making money or,
adding value, right?
Adding value.
Like nothing peeves me off more than getting ripped off or paying a lot of money for something. It's just not worth the value.
Yeah.
So it's a funny one. I was in a pricing workshop the other day where you talk a lot about like varied pricing, right? Like airlines, always moving the pricing around, dial into VPN and you save money and things like that. And it's an ethical dilemma for me where I want to make money by doing good business and not ripping people off, right? And sometimes you feel like if you're doing varied pricing, you're ripping people off because you're charging one guy one thing and another guy another price for the same thing. But it's in the end of the day, their prices actually even out, and their low fares they take losses, and their high fares they take bigger gains. So they're not actually doing it. It's just a pricing model, it's a marketing thing at the end of the day. but yeah, it's just good business, right? And encouraging more people to do good business, encouraging more people to understand what it is. Don't just go into business because you see other people's success. That's the worst for me. It's like go into it for the reason you want to go into it, that you know you can make the difference, that you know you can add the value, and just do good business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. And you've kind of touched on a few of them already. But obviously in life, we all face some difficulties and challenges. Doesn't matter our background, our race, where we were born, what gender we are. What would you say is one of the toughest challenges you faced? I don't know if it is the COVID thing, maybe it's something else, but what would you say has been one of the biggest challenges you faced, either in business or personal? Because no doubt, whichever one it's in, it affected the other one, right? If it was personal, it affected business. If it was business, it probably affected the personal.
It's a good question. I wouldn't say there's one specific one that stands out that's like, oh my God, life was going to end, right? I think I've had too many to to say, but like, I mean, even taking on the MBA straight, right? That was enough of a personal challenge that definitely within a month I was like, fuck, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, am I crazy to think that I can actually go from not understanding any academia and university to all of a sudden doing a master's? And definitely question crisis, and just pulled yourself through and going like, fuck it, you can do it, get it done. When I was running the food factory, we had a full operational turnaround. I had to fire 100 people in a day and rehire them in a week.
Sure.
Yeah,
that is something. Yeah.
So like, for sure, emotional roller coaster, financial roller coaster, like all of it. Starting the first business, we didn't have petrol to go to a customer, right? Like, had to ask for a deposit on a 2,000 Rand job, and like from a big corporate, It's like, so you can think of it from small scale to big scale. I don't know if there's, for sure hardships in personal times. I didn't have much growing up. You'll find it in entrepreneurs is like, we're always optimistic. It's hard for us to see the tough side of life. I can tell you it was tough, but it's like, I didn't really see it as tough.
You probably wouldn't change it. Because it made you who you are, or it led you to do what you did next.
Yeah, like I said, in high school, my mom cleaned the high school, right? I didn't have branded clothing. Like, maybe it was part of it that forced me to find my own path. I don't know. It isn't like, we've never had extreme hardships where family trauma or life trauma or losses. Like, in general, it's pretty average. Right?
Yeah. I guess
just an average. I'm just a Joe So.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, in business, definitely, if you pick a point, there's likely a time that I've done it, or I've had to deal with some sort of crisis similar, from cash flow to staff to shareholders to, from small to medium-sized business. Not corporate legal nonsense that takes 3 weeks to get one thing.
And so have you ever sat back and felt like you've made it? Everyone has this idea of success and what it would be like to make it. Have you ever felt that? And if not, what do you think that would look like for you?
So I think, like, I've definitely taken a step up within what I've grown up with. But simply from my life motto of go big or go bigger, you can tell I'm not satisfied.
Yeah.
Like, I'm happy, right? Like, I've got a 3-bedroom house, 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. I got an avo tree in my backyard. Get avos from every year.
Avos are expensive, so that's definitely a
small gold mine, right?
Yeah.
I got an amazing wife. I've got a boy who's 2.5. We've got another one coming in 2 weeks' time.
Nice, congratulations.
Yeah, it's a wild ride at the moment, but like, life's good, right? Like, if I want to go surfing, I can go surfing. If I want to play tennis, I can do what I want to. I'm not financially set. I can't stop working, but I'm happy. I'm getting to do what I love in entrepreneurship and like changing the way things are done. It was funny. We were on a technical call about electronic circuit board last night, and I sort of suggested something out of the tradition with our head technical guy. He's a consultant, so not full time. He does military electronics as his day job and consults us at night. And he's like, Joel, that's way too out the box, but I can't see why it won't work. And I've just never lived in the box, right? So it's even in the technical side. And how much fun is that, right? Just completely pushing the boundaries. Like we're pushing the boundaries of what we're doing, the way we're doing things on the agri-tech company. And like not many people can say that and earn money.
For sure. Yeah.
We're in between getting that right, and like that's exciting.
Yeah.
So in a sense, for sure, I made it. I'm doing what I love. I've got a good space. Do I want to do more? Hell yes. Like I'm hungry, and we're going. Right? Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what would you say are some of those next things that you have in your vision? Do you have an idea of what they are and maybe a game plan to get there, or you kind of just taking them as they come and, waiting for them to come across your path and the opportunity to present itself or the idea to pop into your head and then go from there? Or do you already kind of know?
Yeah, let me try and swing it back a slight bit. And like, so personal success for me is financial freedom, right? And like we sort of touched on a little bit of numbers earlier before we started, but to me, 20-30 million rand in the bank is good money. You're going to get 200K a month in interest from that if you put it in a good investment. And like that's shitloads not to have to worry about working. So that's my current like real personal goal. I want to hit that in the next 7 years.
Okay.
I'm probably 1/10 of the way there.
Okay.
So in personal value, maybe I'm 2 million. Depends, right? Our company's got a valuation of 50 bar. I'm a 50% shareholder, but I can't sell it for that. So I wouldn't say it's worth that.
Yeah.
I'd probably say it's worth somewhere between 5 and 10. And then once I'm diluted, I'm down to about 40%. So you guys, if you're listening, do the math. Right?
Yeah. You're answering all my questions before I even ask them. It's
That's
great.
cool. I got plenty.
Cool.
So I'm on the way to do that. That's what I want to achieve, and like, I don't even want to achieve it for myself. I want to achieve it for my family, right?
Yeah.
Like, because I don't want to stop working. There's lots in the tank. Like the opportunity, like as I said, there's not a shortage of opportunities, especially when you live in a place like Africa. It's all about size of the opportunity, getting the right fit. Especially if you can front load an opportunity and you know how to set it up, you can take you can take advantage of it, right? And I just need to get to the point I can front load them.
Do you think, I know you said you only worked in the Caribbean, right? For a year.
4 years.
4 years, sorry, 4 years. Do you think that South Africa has just as many opportunities in terms of business as you might find overseas? Or do you think there are more opportunities overseas? I don't know if you have much of an opinion there, but I'd just be curious to know.
Yeah, it depends how you define the opportunity, right? The absolute value, so the peak earnings or the peak size of the company, it's definitely less in South Africa, and that's to do with just broader macroeconomics.
Yeah.
The type of spending power people have, and so forth. Definitely there's good opportunity to earn in dollars and pounds and getting overseas and manufacturing here, right? Taking advantage of the rand. It's a tough balance again in sort of politics and macroeconomics about the stability of doing business here. But like, I've got a friend who's busy setting up shop in Zambia, and like, what a beautiful country and a more stable place, tiny economy.
Yeah.
So like, it's not a limiting factor. It does change things. I've got other friends who've launched their brands in the States and they've just skyrocketed, or in in Southeast Asia type thing, right? So I would say there's more opportunity here, but the absolute value that you can earn from it is possibly less
yeah, given the economy.
directly. Only if you can actually establish an export market
Yeah.
does that become then limitless.
Okay. And then moving on to some of those shorter form questions that I mentioned, what is the worst piece of advice you've ever gotten?
Yeah. I don't know. I want to say lawyers. Using a lawyer.
That's a good answer.
Using a lawyer instead of an experienced business person.
Yeah.
Like I think we've had a lot of bad advice. So like you were talking about crisis, right? You reminded me of something now. The very first machine we built for MacMan, we got sued straight to High Court.
Wow.
Yeah. It was
Sure, and that didn't even stop you from carrying on.
No, it was crazy. So I think, we got going November 2011. We got this order like Feb or March 2012. We managed to like bum a 60 square meter factory to go build this like machine that's going to run in a spice factory, right? Like big, large company.
Yeah.
And like off we went. It was the most detailed quote I've ever done in my life. 26 pages of just intricate like drawings and concepts, and like I basically gave away the entire concept. He could have taken it to another engineering firm and said, build me this with that quote, right? Just we were so new and trying to figure things out, and thankfully we got his signature on the back of that page to say, I accept what you've quoted. Because 3 years later, when we actually went to court, those details mattered.
Sure. Right. So that saved you.
Save is a strong word for it. We settled. So it was a $650K project in 2012. You do whatever the inflation is on that now, probably a bar. We got 50% deposit. They ended up with the machine, and we ended up with nothing further. So we took a loss on it, simply because we couldn't afford the legal fees. Right?
Yeah.
Like we had to pay for an advocate at $50K a day because it was a high court.
$50K a day.
Yeah.
Sure. That is a spanking.
It's a spanking. And then, I mean, we were only making like a 30% gross on the machine. So we also had to fund that. Right. And then we had to fund storage for it for 2 years, and like time to display it to them, and them not, it came down to them not understanding what they'd bought, even though I'd done that detailed quote.
Yeah.
And it's life, right? Expectation management. It's with all of it. So, you can't let things like that stop you. But we ended up so often, I think, it was an interesting point, because we got to the point where they said, okay, cool, put the machine down in our factory, show it to us running, and then we'll pay the rest of the money. And we said to them, no ways is it leaving our factory until you pay us a progress payment. Right. And that was sort of legal advice going, stand firm. And that's fine if you're a big company. You can stand firm and carry on. It doesn't affect you. But if you're a small company, you kind of got to go prove yourself, right? And if I did it again, I would have gone and put the machine down and made sure it worked and worked with it. Because the minute they were earning money from that machine, there was no excuse for them not to pay us.
100%.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's a funny thing. These days, I go put stuff down, not knowing the guys, sort of just a recommendation from someone else, and I'll go put down 50K or 100K's worth of kit, and get the money later, knowing I'll make that money, right? If you're making 30-40% GP, it's 3-4 times better than sitting in the bank.
100%,
if not more, right?
Yeah,
5-6 times if you've got short-term accounts. So that's your risk reward that you got to weigh up. Conflict. Listen,
so lawyers basically is the
it's probably the worst advice that was given was like to follow the rules directly. Even like needing to let go employees or disciplinary, like you just need to have a conversation with people. If you try and follow that strict process, you end up in more trouble than, or at least more emotional damage than
otherwise. Yeah. Okay.
Life's fluid, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the worst. I'll see if there's anything else that comes to mind.
And so lastly, what is one message you would want to give to a young entrepreneur? You can think of it as maybe a message you would have wanted to give to your younger self.
Yeah, it's not necessarily a message I'd give to my younger self, but the message I give to everyone is ABC, right? Always be closing. No matter what it is, if it's a project, if it's a sale, if it's an email, just get it done, right? It's motion versus momentum. Don't get stuck on the hamster wheel, just motion and not moving forward. Keep momentum and things will happen. So that's the general advice I try and give everyone. It's the advice I like. But I'm also much more of someone who executes than theorizes, right? And we all have our place, and it's not to say my method is right or wrong. It's just that's what worked for me. I think, younger self, I definitely would try and emphasize the power of network and what it actually means. There's so much value in network and people, and it's probably one of the most difficult things for everyone. But don't be afraid to go out and do it. Don't be afraid to go out and talk to new people. Just put yourself out there. There's absolutely nothing that you will lose. Don't be scared. Don't be shy. There's nothing, literally nothing that you would lose from just going out there and trying. So, and whether it's for entrepreneur or just life, right? Go try and be a Toastmaster. Go try and scuba dive. Go explore. Go expose yourself. Find out what matters to you.
Okay, awesome. And just before we sign off, where can people find you and your business? Do you have maybe a website, social media?
Yeah, easiest find me is LinkedIn. My contacts are up there. But yeah, if you just Google Joel van der Scare for AgriLogic, there's too much of me on the internet already. You'll find me. Reach out. You don't have to set a Teams meeting. Just phone me on my cell phone, send me a WhatsApp. I'm super relaxed. I'll get back to you as soon as I can.
Awesome. Well, Joel, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
Sweet.
Thank you for watching and listening to None of Your Business. If you haven't already, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to follow us on Instagram, TikTok, Twitter, and all of those beautiful places, you can find the links in the description below. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Until next time.